You can go.
Hey, so we're back with the first episode of Soul Rebel Panel, but under the theme Intergenerational Talks. So today's episode is going to be on mothers and their experiences, struggles, aspirations. So yeah, you guys can introduce yourselves.
My name's Ashley Alexandria. I'm a visual artist, a body painter, and yeah.
I'm Alicia Sealy. I advocate for moms who give birth, particularly those colored moms.
I'm Jasmine Holder. I work with the creative agency actually, but outside of that, I'm a yoga instructor and also a children's yoga instructor and working on some initiatives when I go back to school, but it's not happened yet, so I won't talk about it.
I'm Shira Chair. I'm an activist, photographer, and a writer. And this is Juno. She's 4 months old.
So the first question I want to ask you guys is, what has your experience been so far as a mother? Paris.
It's been challenging, but enjoyable at the same time. You know, it's both.
Yeah, I think it's harder than I expected, but in ways that I didn't know. You know, like I didn't think it would be so challenging with the small things like putting her to sleep and getting her on a set schedule. You know, like those things I thought would be smooth sailing. And that's probably one of the things I find most challenging.
I think the relationship component initially was very challenging in terms of like figuring out that we're on the same page and really learning about each other's backgrounds and where we come from and how that then impacts how we're gonna raise a child and where we align and where we don't align. And I think that it really, it pushes your relationship, adds a new momentum, you know, because everything is sped up, but it gives you the opportunity to have authentic conversations more frequently, I think, than before, because there's a whole new life, you know, that's in the picture. But yeah, it's great. It's hard, for sure. It's great.
Just to touch on that, there's also this like added layer of this like, I guess, sense of like intense responsibility, and also there's less of like this, what's it called? You just don't really worry as much about what you're gonna say. You prioritize your child more, obviously. The things that you were afraid to do before, it's kind of like out the window, like you gotta just do them. There's like this sense of urgency all the time. Like with her, it's been awesome with her, but like everything else around me sucks. I mean, it doesn't suck, but like it's super challenging. The way that other folks receive me now, because I'm a mom, it's like it changes the dynamics between myself and my friends, myself and my family, folks in the community, and I'm not sure if that's like a me thing or if it's like a general thing, but I kind of wasn't prepared for that. So momhood is awesome, but the way that people see you changes, I guess.
And I think it's just different too, you know, because like with friends who don't have kids of their own, they just don't get certain things, you know. Yeah, it's like I need to be home by a certain time, you know. Like now it's like if we say 5, like it needs to be at 5 because I'm scheduling this around nap time and feeding, and you know. So it definitely has been challenging.
Overall, I think you need to know who you are, you know, in order to give that to your child, you know.
So what were some expectations that you guys had about birth, about motherhood, and whether or not they were met? And were they met or were they not met? So like I'm just curious about like these expectations that I feel like most people have about stepping into that, but
I don't think I think I knew what to expect, really, you know, so I just kind of took everything as it came and just accepted where I was at. And yeah, that's pretty much how I took the whole pregnancy and even my birth. It was a roller coaster. But actually, while I was pregnant, everything was pretty smooth. I I still worked, I walked a lot, and I think those things helped me up until the day, you know.
For me, birth, like I watched birth videos probably all day. Just to try and like, this is what's gonna happen to me, like it's okay, like just to like, you know, not to like psych myself out about it. But I won't say that it wasn't difficult, but I didn't think it was gonna be as easy as it was. Like it definitely was painful, and obviously everyone has their own birth story, but mine in particular, like she came fairly fast. Like I had it all planned out. I had like a doula, midwife, and like only my partner was there. You know, like we never even left the house. So it was definitely difficult, but like when she came, I was like, oh my gosh, that was it? Like I thought I was gonna be here for like 30 hours. You know? Like overall, I would say like from the first contraction, from when her head popped out, like maybe 8.
No way.
Wait, so, okay.
Yeah, and like I mean the first like 4, it was like something's going on, not sure. Called my midwife, she was like, oh, you have time, just relax, rest, sleep, and like just try to get your rest because, you know, all day tomorrow it's gonna be, you know, like you're gonna be active. So I was like, okay. I was actually able to sleep. I would wake up for the contractions, and then out of nowhere I was like, oh my gosh, I'm like constipated. Like talking to my partner, like, it's those damn tacos you fed me, like what is going on? Like I don't know, in my head, like I still was like, there's no way I'm giving birth right now. Like no, like her due date's not for another like week or 2, like this is not it. Like it would be so much more painful. I just really need to go to the bathroom. So even with all the videos and books I read, like I don't know. Yeah, it didn't click. Like it did not click until I heard him like, yeah, you need to come now. And I was like, oh, really? Are we there?
Oh my gosh, I thought breastfeeding would be easy. Like just latch them, everything's great. No, it is not. And also the like surrounding support around breastfeeding, I thought would be automatic, you know, and like I don't personally feel like I got the support I would like to have had from my mother and her believing in my capacity to produce the amount of milk that was sufficient for him. And for me, that really dug into me really, really deep and put me in a bad place, you know? And like, I unfortunately went back to work when he was 2 months, and then I was stressed. My hours were 6 a.m. I'm waking up at 4:30 in the morning and like not sleeping, so my milk supply evaporated, you know? So it was like, and then putting him on formula and getting to that point, I also felt was hard, was difficult, because this isn't how I'm gonna raise my child. Like this isn't, if I'm a mother that's putting my baby on formula, then I'm a mother that doesn't vouch for food sobriety in communities that need it. I'm a mother that doesn't shop and get organic produce for my child. I'm not doing this right. This isn't how I plan to raise him, you know? And I think that I had to, one, have a reality check about how I had a judgment on formula in general and people that used formula, because obviously if I'm thinking of myself as being lower, you know, then there's somewhere in my subconscious that I was also relating that to other women that use formula. And for me, that's not appropriate. So I was literally put in a position where I was like, listen, you know, you have this judgment not only of yourself but of other people, and you need to realize that every mother is trying their best, you know, and like advocate for that first, you know. And I also think that I like had sexual trauma, you know, and nobody talked to me and said this might make breastfeeding hard, you know, and nobody talked to me about Deemer, you know, nobody, like even my well, she mentioned it but didn't know much about it, but I finally, after 4 or 5 months, went and scheduled an appointment with a breastfeeding, wait, is it called? Breastfeeding?
A lactation
consultant, yeah. So, and I'm talking to her and she's like, you know, she specifically deals with women of color. And she's like, I've never had a case in which I'm dealing with a mother that has experienced sexual abuse. You know, and I'm like, the stats are so high.
But
she didn't know.
Just didn't know, because I'm sure she has.
Yeah,
you know?
and she was like, you know, thank you for letting me know. I've never been in this position before, so I have to go work back with get more resources so I can know how to assist you. You know, and for me, it's like, how many lactation consultants, how many midwives, and I think doulas for the most part are, you know, understanding how to work with women that have experienced sexual trauma, because I feel like it is a part of that training. I'm not sure, I haven't done it, but I mean, I guess you could speak to that, but I think that for me was an expectation that went amiss, you know, and I was like, gosh, who am I? You know, if I'm doing this, do I love my child? It's like, am I doing this right, you know? And then and she even told me, you know, and I mean, it was a back and forth conversation, but she just like, the best thing to do is to be able to make sure that you are available to your child. And if you can't be available to your child because of breastfeeding, because of the trauma that it brings up, then maybe that's not the option for you. And that's okay, you know? And I had to be like, yeah, okay, that's okay, you know? And I think that's how it was for me. So just realizing there's a lot of advocating happening for breastfeeding, and I am also an advocate for that, but holding space for women that are like, you know, this doesn't feel good to me. If something happens to me every time I have a letdown, what is this? I have really negative thoughts. I can't be available to my child. Don't just push them and say, get past it. Have a conversation about, okay, like, what's happening? What thoughts are you having? Why do you think this is coming up for you? How can we be available to you? You know, and I think that sometimes is an opportunity that we miss in supporting new mothers or mothers in general. But yeah.
Thank you for sharing that.
Yeah, sorry if I went like too hard.
For me, it was a little bit of the opposite. So you touched on a lot of things that like happened to me, but at the hospital where I was, they definitely pushed breastfeeding, but like to the extreme, where she messed me up in the first few hours. Like I was torn up. She like had a really bad latch, but they didn't want to call it that. They were basically saying like, well, you're not trying hard enough. Like these are all the positions. They would like grab my breast and like force it, grab her head, and I'm just like, okay, I know that this was on my birth plan, and I appreciate the fact that like y'all are trying to like get me through it. But this is painful, and also like you're not asking for my consent when you grab me.
Right.
The birthing process was interesting. I also like obsessively watched birth videos because I was like, you know what, I'm just gonna desensitize myself. It's honestly whatever. And I made my partner also watch it. He was freaked out at first, but then after a while he got over it. Mine was not like those birth videos. Like, I wanted to stay at home for as long as possible. No. My water was like breaking, like bit by bit by bit for like 4 days.
Oh my god.
And then finally at the last day, it just came all out. A mess. I was like, okay, like this probably boosts the chance of like infection, so I didn't want to stay home for too long. I called my doula over. She's like, honestly, we can do like whatever you need. I was like, all right, like I'm feeling the contractions, let's just go. Get to the hospital, my contractions stop. Like, wow. They were like, oh, you gotta do Pitocin. And I'm like, damn it, like I don't want to do it. Like, give me a break.
And they don't understand that like going to the hospital is like a scary feeling. So it makes sense as to why the contractions stop.
Right.
You know?
Yeah.
Like they're just so like on a timely matter. Like, well, you're in here, we gotta get you out because we need this hospital bed.
Yes,
you
exactly.
know?
That's the one they broke down.
Did they? Oh my god.
It's just like you feel that they're rushing you.
Yeah.
Like you cannot rush this process.
No.
You know? I had a kind of crazy experience. My birth was rushed, pretty much. So I was admitted around 8 a.m. and then I had her at like 5 p.m.
Whoa.
Yeah. And I wanted to get like an epidural at some point because I just could not take the pain. I was trying to hold on for a long time. And my mom and my boyfriend, they were just like, just hold out. My mom had a natural birth, so she wanted me to have one. And I wanted one too, but I was like, you know what? So the guy comes in with a needle, and he's like flirting with my mom, like just very unprofessional, you know, like. And I'm like, well, how many centimeters am I? Because nobody's coming like really regularly and checking. It's kind of like I was just left there in the bed. Like I felt, that's how I felt. And so, I had the doctor come in. They told everybody to leave out so they could check me. And then it was so painful when they did. I was fully dilated, y'all. This was like 3 o'clock maybe by that time. Yeah. So I was ready. Who knows how long I was ready to have my child? You know?
Right.
Like I'm like, all right, this pain is just like too much. I gave birth right after that. If I hadn't like said I need to know how that how many stages I am, I don't know how long it would have taken. And that's not. I mean,
or the complications.
God,
Exactly.
Yeah. Thank God, everything worked out. But I was traumatized.
Yeah.
Really so traumatized.
Honestly, that's why I was so against going to a hospital in the first place, because there are so many stories that I've heard where doctors or nurses are just not listening to you, especially as like Black women. It's like they just believe like, oh, like you're strong already,
Right.
so that pain you say you're having must not be that serious,
That's exactly how the nurse looked at me. She was like,
Yeah.
I'm like, can you get the doctor? She's like, you're fine. And I'm
Right.
like, what?
Yeah. My night shift nurse was like that because she, did 14 hours on Pitocin and was completely fine. I was on hour 10 and I'm like, listen, the way that I feel right now, I can't walk because I'm all wired up. None of the comfort measures that my doula was doing anything. I dissociated at one point, so I was like, I need the fucking epidural. Stat. I need it because
But
I don't know
feel
what
like
I'm
it's
gonna be.
hard to try and relax in the hospital bed. I heard that there are so many regulations that they have, in terms of you not being able to walk around. You need to be hooked up to an IV. We need to make sure that your heart rate and everything is going. It's we've been doing this literally for years and years. This is the most natural thing that happens, and it's just trust in your body. And so I was really hoping to go to the Brooklyn Birthing Center, and although I didn't make it there, I would suggest for any mother to try and go there because they really make it like a home. So it's almost like a home birth, but not at home, and it's the closest thing to a medical doctor that you could have. And they have midwives. They supplied me with doulas. They have an entire resource page where you can find yoga and therapists, and I just felt like going there was super helpful and made me gave me a sense of clarity, that my birthing experience will probably be different than most others, but then I still got a lot of backlash from my family, you're crazy, you're not going to the hospital, it's what are you doing, what if something happens, that was everyone's go-to question, but what if something happens, and I was but what could happen, I'm just trusting my body, I'm not trying to think that way, worst case scenario, I can call an ambulance, anyone would do, but everyone was just I don't know, kind of giving me the side eye,
What are they saying now?
Well, I didn't even make it there, but yeah. So, but it was still no, it wasn't oh wow, you did it. It was just whoa, that's crazy, So it wasn't an applause, congratulations, you actually did it. It was just you're different, your story's different, and we don't know how you did that, still kind of but definitely wasn't oh, we're proud of you, whoa, congratulations, you were able to achieve that. I felt that way. Thankfully, my partner and I are, strong-minded, and we knew what we accomplished, so I wasn't looking for that from my family, but, even them coming to the hospital was are you sure everything's okay? Because she had this baby at home,
Wow.
Yes.
Where everything they did back in the day.
Yeah. That's also not what you want to hear, with these, postpartum hormones rushing through you.
Yes.
The only thing that you need are positive affirmations.
Yes. Yeah.
I just want to ask you, just based off of these conversations, what does support look like? Or what would you have hoped for that support to look like? Because I think oftentimes we don't necessarily, even when people find out that they're pregnant, I think people around them, we don't always know, okay, well, what is it that you guys need during this time, during birth and afterwards? So, what does support look like for pregnant people, for expecting people? And what would you guys have liked to have had?
I feel if, for me personally, a lot of people were trying to kind of coach and teach me to be a mom. Oh, you should do this, or do it this way, and it's just let me be who I want to be. You know, like I have different values than like my parents may have. You know, so I try to do things differently. So I just wish if they could have supported me in a more openly way, where if I told them I'm doing something, it's like, oh, you want to breastfeed? That's great. Let me research breastfeeding so I can give you more tools and like research that you may not already know, instead of giving me their biased opinion on breastfeeding that's not even necessarily true, you know, or valid. Yeah, it's just their experience, like, oh, that's gonna hurt, and your boobs are gonna be down here, you know. It's just like, okay.
Thanks.
Right, like, I don't really care. Like, I want to, you know, give my child that. So, and I would have loved to have a postpartum doula. I don't think I realized how important having a postpartum doula was. I didn't even know what a postpartum doula was until I called my doula and was like, hey, are you gonna like, because she said like, oh, we're gonna have a few visits, and I'm like, I Googled postpartum doula, and I'm like, you're not really doing any of the things that a postpartum doula does. And she was like, oh, no. I'm your doula, and I'm just still checking in on you, but I am not a postpartum doula. And I was like, oh, like, damn it. I would have gotten one, you know, like, had I known. And I feel like having a postpartum doula is just as important as having one. Because after I gave birth, everyone was just like, okay, like, see ya, you know, like, have fun, enjoy, and like, my partner went back to work and I was just home with the baby. Like, I don't really know what to do, you know? Like, we just kind of slept all day, like, nothing was done. I just feel like having someone there to kind of coach me through and, like, just help me, like, just be a helping hand, you know? Like, sorry, just take a shower, you know? And have 30 minutes to myself. Like, I felt like my entire being was surrounded by this new person, and no one was taking care of me because I was just taking care of her.
Yeah. Like the first night that Jolie came home, I'm like, my partner is asleep, and I'm up. My child will not go to sleep. It's like any little slight movement, she was like, you know, and I was just looking at him like,
must be nice.
Wake up, like, you know. And I don't know. It's just, you really are. It's you and your child. Like, it is y'all. Like, you know, like, even you have a partner, yeah, but you know, you are the mother, and it's like, it is your 24-hour job. You know, and I felt that first night. But I think support looks like, you know, like, I had a great support system. Had aunts and friends that would come over and cook, or give me a minute so I could just have, you know, time to take a shower. Not all the time, but, you know, like, when they could.
Yeah.
But that's what support looked like to me, community of women that understand what
It
you're
takes a
going through.
village.
It really does. It definitely takes a village.
I think I felt that too. And I think that my mom, what I really, really appreciated in that support system, she's from Trinidad, you know, so when she came back, or not when she came back, but when she came to the house after having the baby, you know, she's doing the things that her mom did for her, you know, and some of the things she didn't do, like, she was like, oh, you know, after I had Bridget, who's my oldest sister, she was like, you know, your grandma came and she whipped up yolk or egg yolk and aloe, and she's like, drink, yeah, like, drink this, like, flush it out. And I'm like, it was disgusting. She was like, but it was so helpful. And I was like, why did you do that for me? You know, but she's like, I don't know how to do it. And for me, that showed that there's, like, a cultural lapse, you know, and it's going to be so important for me to retain those information, you know, for my daughter, or for my son's wife, if she's interested in that, or whoever his partner is, whoever he chooses his partner to be. You know, so I think it's like, that's what I appreciated the most about the support. She was really present, but she also brought me food that was traditional to our culture. You know, she brought me provisions, and, like, which are root vegetables, and cassava, and all these, and dashin, and, you know, and she brought me things that she knew would provide my body with strength, but also my spirit with strength. So it was like, I felt like my grandmothers were there with me too, because we resurrect them, you know, when we do things that are culturally or historically cultural for, like, us and our bodies and our beings, you know. So, but I do think I wish that I had like the breastfeeding thing that I said, just like more advocating for that, and also a reality check that like you're not gonna have that much time. You know, somebody would tell me in the beginning like this is gonna be real hard, okay? But it'll be beautiful and it'll be bountiful and fruitful. And I think, I just wish someone that would have talked to me real rather than sort of like pacifying me, just letting me know that like I'm gonna arrive to something. Like this is what I went through and it was very difficult, but you can get through it. You know, so it was for me.
For me, I think it was like two things. I didn't want a C-section, but I had to because she was like in pre-heart attack. It was really bad. Anyway, she was like dying, so I had to take her out. But the 5 days that I had to stay at the hospital were great because I got to like have support. People would come in, watch her, so I can like take a 5-minute nap because I wasn't sleeping. Sleep doesn't exist. Let's be real. My partner got to stay home for the week after, so I got to like heal quicker. Obviously I couldn't like really put her to the test because she just wasn't having it, but like having someone watch her while I pumped like 8 times a day was amazing. Folks bringing food over, like you were saying, like really hearty soups, fruits and like vegetables that you can just snack on while like watching her was amazing. And just like being able to like schedule a day in the first month where I was just basically by myself and I got to see all my friends that I hadn't seen yet was amazing. Because I feel like if I didn't have any of those things, I would have like had PPD or something. So also doulas coming to your house.
Yes.
Yeah, amazing.
And also, just kind of stemming off of what you said, I wish I would have gotten more support with my partner and I, like someone helping the both of us. I feel like a lot of people focus on the mom, and although I do feel that there should be more focus on the mom, there's like no focus whatsoever on fathers, whether or not they're like in a relationship with the mom or is just present in the child's life. And I, just coming from my family, my family's from the South, it's very much like, well, this is your child. And, like, yeah, he's the dad, but this is your child. So, like, you got to do what you have to do, which is great. But my partner, like, I was breastfeeding and he felt like, like, what can I do? And I was like, so scared, like, oh, she'll have nipple confusion and like, all these things that like is not a thing. But I was scared to pump early, and I wish I would have allowed him to do more early on. And I just took on too much of the task, I feel, because I was just taught like, well, it's on me, so he can sleep, like, and I should have been like waking his ass up, like, you get to, hey, I just woke up an hour ago, can you wake up now? And no one like really guided us as like a partnership. And I do feel like there should be, I don't know, like doulas like for the family, like not so much focusing on the mom, but like even if there's like maybe daddy doulas, to kind of like, like help them like, I don't know, make healthy meals for the mom. Like what healthy meals can you make that will help my milk production, and like what are things that you can do when I am breastfeeding? Like I didn't know I needed to be drinking like 8 bottles of water while I was breastfeeding and having a snack, So all these things I feel like he could have helped me with, and just like me asking more. Like I wasn't used to having to ask for help. I was just kind of like, well, he's here, he should help me, But like that wasn't right. That wasn't our dynamic. He's like, well, I don't really, he kind of felt helpless, and I'm like, I don't even really know what to ask for, Like honestly, like I kind of got it, but I don't. Like so, I don't know.
Yeah, that's such a learning curve. Like learning to ask your partner what it is, learning to ask for what it is that you even need, and to acknowledge that. It's also, obviously a massive learning curve for them. Because it's like they want to be there, and they want to do the best, but at the same time they don't want to do something that they know is going to negatively impact you. Right. So I think that also can feel like a barrier for them. I don't want to do the wrong thing, but I want to do everything. So I do nothing. Because I don't want to make this worse for you. And then we're overwhelmed, and we're like, why aren't you doing anything? I'm so tired. And then we don't even know how to ask. So So I love that daddy doula, or like even family doula, you know.
Yeah,
That's amazing.
I didn't really get, I mean, during my training, and I'm still trying to do a lot more learning on my own, and just hearing you guys' conversations about, like, you know, suffering like through trauma, like people that are, you know, survivors of sexual trauma. And we have a book that I really need to like finish on like how to advocate and support people that have been through that, and like how do we also support partnerships, because it's true, like oftentimes, like, you know, we're learning all the things about like, the physiology and anatomy of a woman's body, and like what's happening to her body, and how to, you know, look out for certain signs of, you know, like different things that are going on. And so it's like, it's very like womb-centered and woman-centered.
Right.
And it's not just like we forget, like, oh shit, like you guys actually, like, if you are fortunate to have your partner present in this, you know, in your life and in your child's life, it's like, okay, wow, so like because it's good for me to know, just like, okay, well then how do I then make it so that way the father doesn't feel like he's helpless, because, and rightfully so, because they don't know what to do, and like you said, we don't often, you know, there's no like guidance for fathers on like what they should be doing within that time, and it's kind of like everything is on the mom and not so much on them. So that's good learning for me. He's, you know, working towards my certification of being a doula. Well, then how can I then provide that support for the father so that he doesn't feel like he can't help you, because you all, like, you know, like you guys need that extra help too, and to kind of like, you know, want to support and want to make him feel like he's also valuable in that experience as well, and not just like a bystander. So I really do appreciate those, because that's something that I don't often think about, is you often just think about, okay, what does the mom need? You know what I mean? Like, what is it the baby needs? And then just like neglect the father. Like, he's just like, you were just, you know, like the sperm donor, but you, but how do we then support you, and what does that support look like for fathers too, so that way they feel like they can also be a part of the experience. So I do appreciate that perspective, because then that's helpful for me, and I think for anyone else watching this, that like that extra support is actually needed for the other partner as well.
And starting the nurturing early, you know, where it's like fathers are stepping into a nurturing, very empathetic, sympathetic role, you know, and I think that there's now so much advocating for skin-to-skin contact, and now more men are like making skin-to-skin contact with their children, and I think that's so powerful. So it's like starting off the father with knowing you can be sensitive, right? You can cry when you see your child for the first time, you know, like my partner cried when he saw him, he was like, oh my God.
I think that was the first time, like,
you know, and it's so amazing to see that they, like, yes, be sensitive, experience the fullness of yourself, you know, and I think daddy doula is letting fathers know, be sensitive, be nurturing to your partner, you know, and there's, and that like shows up in so many different ways, changing the diaper, maybe cleaning up the house a little bit, you know, maybe getting something that she loves, think about that, or that you know she needs, you know, just from observing, rather than her having to like talk to you and tell you. And I think that I was actually talking with this woman who helps me a lot. She's a yoga priestess, but she was talking to me and telling me that men are not pushed to utilize their executive functioning. So like men aren't suggested to like think first and look around a space and say, oh, this is what needs to be done. You know, that's not advocated. Not taught that. Especially if you have like a baby. I think it's a great opportunity. So yeah, I just really love that idea.
I'm glad you brought that up.
Yeah, I know me and my partner, we just kind of struggled a lot because I was breastfeeding, and like I just always heard, like, you know, always have her at the breast, and he was just like, bruh, like, are you breastfeeding again? And I'm like, you know, like, but I felt his pain, like, damn, like, she really is always on me, you know? And then I was just so paranoid, like, I definitely suffered from anxiety that just, like, flew off the roof after I had my child. So, like, 5 seconds of her crying, it's like, you need to give her to me, or like someone's gonna die, because this is like, I can't have it. So like, I was overly putting her on the breast, you know, like I wasn't listening to her cries, like, well, maybe she's hungry, or I mean, not hungry, but maybe she's sleepy, or she like just needs attention. It was just like, nope, titty, you know, like, and so I think that also kind of like distance our relationship a bit, you know, because it's like, how can I actually help without just like giving you water? Like, how can I actually help her? You know, I couldn't really answer those questions for him. And like the skin to skin contact, like, he definitely did that. And I think, you know, yeah, it was good.
Thank you. So I wanted to ask, because I've definitely heard this, especially from my friends, of like, you know, not wanting to have kids right away, because if you have kids, like, your life is ruined and you can't. You know what I mean? And I often hear that a lot, like, you can't do anything, you can't get anywhere that you want to be if you have a kid. And I'm pretty sure you guys have heard this too. So I kind of wanted to ask, like, what are your feelings, you know, surrounding people that say things like, well, you don't want to have a kid too early, or you don't want to have a kid now, because then if you do, then, like, you ruin your chances of
Being successful.
yeah, exactly. I didn't want to say it, but yeah, that you ruin your chances
that's
of being successful. And I want to know, like, what you guys thought of that, and especially when you hear those things, and how does that make you feel?
I mean, there's like a level of validity to it because we live in a system of capitalism. And I was reading, I think in the Times or something recently, they had done a study about the motherhood penalty and how moms are always more likely than not passed over for promotions because employers see their children as like liabilities, or that there's this like assumption that mothers will not be as dedicated or focused to their work when they have kids, which is completely sexist. But fathers actually get more recognition, they get more praise, they get raises, they get more promotions because they're dads. So it's like the complete opposite for them. But to like go back to like how our perception of like parenthood in this society is, I guess there's like a fear of becoming a parent, and then also just like this lack of understanding that once you are a parent, like a mom, a dad, or just like a birth giver, it's not just about you anymore. I feel like people's egos are way too big to be able to like kind of set that back and be like, all right, like it's not just about me anymore.
I think it starts in the mind first, you know, like you're already thinking that that's gonna happen, like you're not gonna be successful because of a child, then you've already spoke that, you know, out there. That's what I think. I feel like it's obviously gonna be more work, but you know, you can't just like deter yourself. You know.
But I feel like in today's era, like people are more accepting, and people are just more not willing to do the 9 to 5. Like I've met more entrepreneurs like now than I ever have before. Because I feel like, you know, it's kind of becoming more accepting. Like this actually can work because I work from home, or like I schedule my hours. And personally, for me, like I do feel that I was not too young, but I was like, damn, like I needed to have this and, you know, here like all squared away before I had my child. But after having her, like she pushed me to be a greater person. Like I feel like I wouldn't have been as successful as I can be if she didn't come into my life. Like I started going to therapy, and I would have never done that if I didn't like become a mom, because I didn't want to, you know, I wanted to break some of those generational curses, you know, and things that I've never thought about as a person and as an individual that I've done that wasn't healthy. I started thinking about, and I don't know, it just felt like it like changes your whole perspective, and it's like, now I have to be successful, you know, like I have to do this for her. Like I have more of a push. It's not just me anymore, you know, like I have me, I have my family, like it's no games.
Definitely does push you.
Yeah, I think a lot about also what you said, you know, and like I'm in a place in which I'm working in a large corporate position, right? And then, but at the same time, that's not necessarily, it's okay. That's not necessarily where I align, like what sort of calls me, what I want to do long term. But I can see how depending on the environment in which, or the industry in which a woman works after she has a child, how there is like, what is it, the glass ceiling, or not the glass ceiling, or that glass ceiling, that's what I think it's called.
Yeah, it is.
So how that can come up, you know, and how like corporate positions, I personally do not necessarily feel like give you the opportunity to put your family first. Because corporate positions don't necessarily care about families for the most part. If you're like working for large Fortune 500 companies, you know, that's money. They're worried about money. They're worried about, you know, their hours, their employees, and how much money their employees are bringing back to their company. So I can completely see how that, like how society will tell you and make you feel as a woman that once you have a child, you're not getting promoted, you know, unless you open it up for yourself, and you do it for yourself. And that's to speak to like becoming an entrepreneur and finding your own avenue. Because I also think personally within my own life, having a child lets you know, like, teaches you all the things you need to know to be successful. Time management, you know, prioritizing, like what's important, how much money do I need to make, budgeting, all of those things. So when you can soak into being a mother and everything that comes with a mother, because literally you gave life, you know, and it's like
you give life to something else.
Yes, right? Like a whole person, you know, and if you can give life to another being, you can give life to a business, you can give life to any creative venture, you know, and I think it's giving women the opportunity, or anyone that has birthed child, an opportunity to fester in that, you know, and that inevitably, in my experience, I think can also birth success. But it comes with hardships, you know, it comes with a lot of hardships. So yeah, that's a difficult question, because I think it really depends on support, community, like what you're seeing, you know. So I can't say because I'm in the middle. I think I'm literally in that like space of knowing I can be successful, but knowing the environment that I'm in is not giving me both. It's not gonna say, yeah, you can have your family and the money. You know, that's not happening.
I think I'm there too. So basically starting a business and raising my child, so it's like growing both at the same time.
Yeah, I'm sure. That's amazing.
Yeah.
Because she's gonna see that, you know, and it's
She's like growing up with you.
Yeah, I want her involved too because she's very intelligent.
Yeah.
It's like this is the type of life that she's supposed to be involved in. Just always like with me, basically showing her how I am.
I like that.
yeah, I like that. Keep going,
So good.
you know. We're all supporting you.
Yeah, it's the community, like I said. That's how I'm able to get by. Point blank, period.
Yeah. I feel you.
I like that. Thank you.